Hey, why are you even here at this shop? I don't think a place like this is meant for an incompetent high school graduate like you. That day, I was visiting my favorite upscale French restaurant with my work colleagues. I unexpectedly ran into Sophia, who had bullied me relentlessly at my previous company. Dressed in an expensive dress and wearing bold makeup, Sophia twisted her bright red lips and loudly berated me without any regard for the other customers. "Could you please stop bothering me now?" I said this, feeling utterly annoyed by the interruption of my enjoyable time. "Shut up. Oh, by the way, I've been appointed as the next CEO. If you suck up to me now, maybe I could do business with your company. You'd better not sour my mood, you know." Just then, a man in a fine suit appeared and Sophia's face turned pale. "My name is Jason. I'm a 28-year-old company employee. My father passed away in a traffic accident when I was still very young. He was taken from us by a car that ran a red light while he was crossing the street on his way to work. Losing our father so suddenly, our family was left in shock, unable to accept his death. I have little memory of how we managed to stabilize our lives after that. Moreover, the offender in the accident was driving without a license and insurance, adding insult to injury. Due to the offender's blatant disregard for the law, we were left with no choice but to accept the situation, as we could not expect any compensation from someone with no ability to pay. This added to the burden of my exhausted mother. Despite our dire circumstances, my mother always said we couldn't afford to wallow in sorrow. She worked multiple jobs, like cash register duty at convenience stores and supermarkets, to raise me and my two younger brothers by herself. My father had left us with a small amount of life insurance, but it was barely enough to support me and my two younger brothers. Growing up in such conditions, I was determined from a young age to ease my mother's burdens as soon as possible, deciding to work right after graduating from high school instead of pursuing further education. Deciding to work was one thing, but the actual job hunting process for a high school graduate was incredibly tough. The industries open to high school graduates were limited, with most job postings in caregiving, apparel, and the food service sector. However, the wages offered in these sectors for high school graduates were very low, which was a significant concern for me. I was desperate to find a job that would pay well enough to provide some comfort to my mother. When I heard from a career guidance counselor about a job opening at a local major construction company, I was determined to secure the position at all costs. The construction company had far more positions available for college graduates, and the openings for high school graduates seemed almost like an afterthought. But I couldn't afford to let this opportunity pass, so I worked closely with the career guidance counselor on my resume, studying for the entrance exam and preparing for interviews. I managed to pass the document screening and found myself in an interview alongside numerous college students. But I couldn't afford to be intimidated. In the interview room, I was faced with what appeared to be the company's CEO, a gentle-looking man, and three other executives or HR personnel. I looked straight ahead and started my self-introduction. Then, one of the executives, Scott, asked me a challenging question with a smirk. "It seems you've worked hard in your studies at high school." "Yes. But wouldn't there have been other industries more suited to a high school graduate? I'll be honest. The work here is quite demanding and requires further study. Why did you choose our company?" I clenched my back teeth and, looking straight at the smirking executive, I said, "I was raised in a single-parent household. I wanted to work for a prestigious company like yours to learn about society from the seniors here and grow into a responsible adult, all for the sake of my mother who raised me." Hearing my strong resolve, Mr. Williams, the company's CEO, who had been quietly listening until then, spoke up gently to reprimand the harsh executive. "Scott, it's not nice to pick on the young ones. But Williams, he's just a high school graduate. Enough of that. You're Jason, right? Thank you for your impressive answer. Yes. The CEO then smiled at me. Our company values interpersonal relationships the most. We hope young talents like you can learn and grow into respectable adults here. With those encouraging words, he gave me a push forward. Filled with hope from those words, I left the interview room. When the job offer arrived at home later, it was a beautiful memory to celebrate with tears of joy alongside my mother and siblings. There were many new hires that year, so Williams probably doesn't remember me, but I will always be grateful for his warm support at that moment. I was overjoyed to be working under him. 7 years later, having built my career, I've made steady progress as a high school graduate. Since joining the company, I was assigned to the construction management department, spending my days in rigorous training, both on-site and studying for certifications. There were moments when the intensity almost broke me, but I managed to grin and bear it. Thanks to my incredibly supportive colleagues and senior employees who taught me a great deal about the job. Last year, I even experienced supervising a major building construction project, intending to continue in the technical field. Surprisingly, I was exceptionally promoted for the sales department, which is also a highlight of the company I had long hoped to join. My department colleagues and seniors were surprised by this unusual move, cheering, "It's a big promotion." I, too, approached the sales department door with high hopes. The sales department is a gathering of elite college graduates, handling negotiations for large contracts that could significantly impact the company's fortunes. From day one in the new department, the pace was dizzying, but my colleagues were all kind and took the time to teach me the ropes, allowing me to complete on-the-job training OJT within a few months and start managing my accounts. I got used to making courtesy calls to clients and even managed to secure a few small deals, diligently working my way up. However, there was one person who persistently saw me as a thorn in her side. A senior employee named Sophia. Sophia, an elite with a degree in architecture from Harvard, has been on a fast track to success since joining the company. Her sales performance is impressive, and she's often mentioned as a future executive or CEO. I had thought her character would be as outstanding as her achievements, but I was sorely mistaken. From the first day I greeted her, Sophia openly mocked my educational background. "I'm Jason, newly assigned to the sales department. I look forward to working with you." "You must be joking. You're a high school graduate, right?" Yes." "Ugh, the worst. Why would a lowly educated high school grad be assigned to the sales department? That's a bit harsh. This is the face of the company. A low-educated person like you doesn't belong here. It's the worst having to work with you. What are you doing here so confidently? You should have told HR that you were not capable enough for a sales position." I was taken aback by her outright disdain and insults about my education from our first meeting. Since then, Sophia started dumping her work on me as if I were her personal assistant or slave. One day before a meeting, "Hey, high school boy, copy these meeting documents and take them to the conference room." But that's not my job. "What? You dare defy me, a high school grad?" "Fine, I'll do it." And another time, just before the end of the workday, "Hey, I don't have time to prepare tomorrow's meeting materials, so you do it tonight." Tomorrow's meeting materials, but that's not my task. Just do it. Bring them first thing tomorrow morning. You know what will happen if you don't, right? Understood. Like this, I was swamped with her tasks on top of my own, leading to endless overtime and reaching my limit. Yet, I was starting to find fulfillment in my sales role, building trust with clients. Then, an incident occurred. One day, as usual, Sophia abruptly stopped me and handed me some work. "Here, this is your job, so take care of it." "What? Please hold on." I was astonished when I saw the documents, my eyes wide with surprise. They were for a crucial negotiation set for that afternoon, vital for the company. "What's the matter? It's your responsibility, so make sure you do it well. Though, being a useless high school grad, preparing at this point might be futile. I doubt it'll go well, but do your best." Sophia sneered at my panic and walked away. In a rush, I skimmed through the documents and prepared what I could. Heading to the negotiation venue, of course, the outcome was disastrous. It was a negotiation for a large shopping facility construction project, and I was embarrassingly unprepared. With no finalized concept or visual designs, I was reprimanded on the spot. Understandably, the client was furious, saying, "I've never been so insulted like this," leading to a significant complaint. At that moment, all I wanted to scream was, how was I supposed to handle this with just a few hours' notice? Later, back at the company, I was called in by Executive Kevin and reprimanded for the mishap. "Why did this happen? Didn't you realize how important this negotiation was?" "I was assigned to this negotiation task just this morning. I had no time to prepare." "Shut up. No excuses." But it's true. It's hard to believe Sophia would do something like that. Blaming others like this is disgraceful. I tried to tell the truth, but the executives, being close to Sophia, wouldn't listen to me, leaving me in despair. Consequently, I was dismissed for causing significant damage to the company. In other words, I was fired. On my last day, as I was clearing my desk, Sophia looked at me with a smirk. "I feel refreshed now that an incompetent like you is gone." Her final taunt and laughter as I left were etched in my mind. That's how I ended up leaving the company I had worked at for 8 years. 5 years later, I found myself in a high-end French restaurant for work. This famous restaurant, located in a prime location on 5th Avenue, served dishes prepared by a skilled chef using the finest seasonal ingredients. The upscale restaurant has a bar attached to it and one private room for VIPs in the back. I was sitting at a table with a few colleagues, enjoying delicious wine and food while having a lively conversation. Then, from the entrance, I heard a voice saying, "I had a reservation today under Sophia." The person guided by the staff was the very last person I wanted to see again, Sophia. Upon noticing me, Sophia's face turned sour. "Hey, why are you even in this place?" "It's been a while, Sophia. I don't think a place like this is for incompetent high school graduates like you. You haven't changed a bit, even after all this time." Dressed in an elegant dress and bold makeup, Sophia, with her bright red lips twisted, loudly confronted me without regard for other customers. The waiter, flustered by the tense atmosphere, tried to guide Sophia to her seat, saying, "Excuse me, your seat is in the back," but she ignored him and continued, "What are you even doing now, after being fired?" "I'm here with work colleagues today." "Oh, really? I wonder what kind of bottom-tier company took you in. Are you trying to show off by coming to a place like this? Can you please stop bothering me?" I said, utterly annoyed by the disruption of an enjoyable moment. "I'm not bothering you. It's just the worst having a high school grad like you in the same space. Just leave." "That's ridiculous." "Shut up. I've been appointed as the next CEO. Maybe if you suck up to me now, I could consider doing business with your company. Wouldn't want to upset me, right?" "I'm not interested in that." Despite my repeated rejections, Sophia kept pestering me. "Don't ignore me, you incompetent high school grad. Are you even listening to me?" As Sophia stood beside me, Looking down from her lofty position with a smirk, I was utterly disgusted. Despite the delicious dishes laid out on the table, Sophia's loud complaints soured the atmosphere. I decided to ignore her and continue my meal, deeming her words unworthy of a response. "Don't mess with me. Your presence is making me sick. Just leave." As Sophia raised her voice in anger from being ignored, CEO Williams from my former company appeared from the back. "Mr. Williams." I thought I recognized Sophia's voice, but what on earth is this commotion? "Well, it's just that." "Come on, you're disturbing the other guests." "Oh, isn't that Jason? Good to see you." Greeted by him, I responded in kind. "Likewise, it's good to see you. It's quite a coincidence to meet here." "Indeed. Thank you so much for reaching out about the new project." As we engaged in a friendly chat, Sophia, standing beside me, staggered back in shock, completely dumbfounded. "Mr. Williams, what's this all about? What do you want to know?" "This guy was fired from our company for being incompetent. Why are you, Mr. Williams?" "Hey, Sophia, watch your mouth. Jason is the sales division head at the major general contractor, K Construction, and also an executive officer." K Construction. Hearing the name and position at the company I work for from Mr. Williams, Sophia turned pale and started trembling. "After being fired, I was recruited by K Construction due to my track record and experience from my previous job. Although my time at my previous job ended prematurely, I was assigned to the sales department at K Construction, where I have continued to achieve the top sales performance nationwide since joining and have climbed up to an executive position. I had met Mr. Williams at a dinner before and have been in good terms with him since. The first time we met, I had told him about working at his company and being fired 5 years ago. To my surprise, he had no recollection of firing me or any memory of such an incident. He mentioned he had no recollection of ever dismissing an employee for misconduct. Without digging into Sophia's past, I avoided the topic and shared how the words he once said about valuing human relationships within the company still empower me today, which pleased him greatly. I credit my ascent to an executive role to his teachings. I participated in various dinners to communicate with a wide range of people, valuing my interactions with individuals both inside and outside the company. By doing so, my sales performance significantly improved, leading to achievements that culminated in my appointment as an executive. That's ridiculous. Impossible. How could such an incompetent high school graduate become an executive at K Construction? Facing Sophia, who was muttering in disbelief and turning pale, I spoke up. "Sophia, you're still discriminating against people based on their educational background, I see. Of course, that's obvious. People without a degree are just incompetent. You're still saying that. You might want to reconsider that viewpoint. Judging people solely by their education and not seeing their true worth is a flaw for a leader." "Shut up. Why should I be lectured by someone like you? Can you say such a thing? What do you mean? You haven't forgotten about tomorrow's negotiation with our company, have you?" "What, that's..." If someone who could potentially be a business partner behaves like this, we can trust them enough to work together. It seems best to cancel our meeting tomorrow." "No, wait, please wait." I decided to cancel the meeting the next day, appalled by Sophia's persistent focus on educational background without seeing the true essence of people and her unchanged condescending attitude. "Jason, what's going on here?" "Mr. Williams, I'm sorry. I think it's time I tell you everything." Surprised by the exchange between Sophia and me, I shared with him the harassment I had endured from Sophia while working at his company. At that time, Sophia hid my work, and I couldn't do anything about it. What a terrible thing to happen. But why didn't you tell me at the time? I did inform the executives, but they didn't take me seriously. I thought I'd let it go and forget about it. But seeing Sophia's condescending attitude as soon as we met again made me lose my patience. I see. I had no idea, and I deeply apologize. After hearing my story, he apologized, but Sophia clung to him, desperately trying to make me out to be the villain. Mr. Williams, it's not true. It's all his fault. Don't be fooled. Sophia, be quiet. He sternly reprimanded Sophia with a fearsome glare. Ah. The next CEO thing is now back to square one. With that, he walked away, leaving Sophia collapsed on the floor. After a while, Sophia staggered out of the restaurant, escorted by a staff member. I apologized to the chef and my colleagues for the disturbance and reset the atmosphere to enjoy the delicious food and drinks. Later, I heard from Mr. Williams that an internal investigation was conducted regarding Sophia. Apparently, there were quite a few employees who had experienced similar harassment from Sophia, some of whom had kept detailed records. Various misdeeds such as power harassment, human rights violations, and labor management violations were brought to light, and like me back then, Sophia was severely reprimanded in the executive board's disciplinary committee and was dismissed on the spot. Despite her cries of innocence until the very end, overwhelmed by the disdainful glances from many employees, she left the company as if fleeing. Jason, I'm truly sorry about this incident. We've purged the executives who were complicit in Sophia's power harassment and are planning to start over and improve the company's environment. It's not about getting an apology from you, but I appreciate that you believed my story and even went as far as to conduct an internal investigation. I haven't forgotten the kindness I received from you. I would be delighted if we could work together again someday. Although this incident resulted in the cancellation of our current project, I expressed my sincere hope to collaborate on significant projects with his company under its new management, and he was receptive to the idea. As an executive, I am committed to continuing to contribute to my company's success and to strive every day to become a fully fledged professional.